Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.
Shalom, 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 Yasharal and Yahudah. Jerusalem. It's about Yeshua. It's about receiving the witness, being established in his kingdom in order to return back to the place that Yahuah has called his own. Returning a people to a place that he has chosen for himself. Our goal is to walk in and receive this Yeshua, the restoration of a people, the restoration of a land, a territory, an establishment of a Ruach kingdom that is ruled by Yahuah and Yahusha. He's given us his Ruach HaKodesh. He's put his witness in us to establish fellow kingsmen in the kingdom. Yahuah, I give you praise for your Ruach HaKodesh. I give you praise for the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. I give you praise for the witness on the earth, which three agree and are one. I give you praise for your witness in the Shamayim. You, Abba, the Word, Yahushua, and the Ruach HaKodesh, these three agree in the Shamayim and testify to Yahushua HaMashiach and has given to us the witness, which establishes us as sons and daughters, participants in the kingdom that you have made available to us, to Yahudiym first and to the other nations. Yahuah, by virtue of a covenant that you gave to our ancestors, our forefathers. Yahuah, I give you praise. So great a Yeshua. It was a mystery hid until we received the Ruach HaKodesh of truth that reveals this mystery. Yahuah, establishing your kingdom on the earth has always been your plan, and Yahushua HaMashiach has always been the way. Yahuah, I pray that the words that I speak would be spirit, ruach, and life. I pray that you would take the reins of my lips and the reign of my tongue and reign. Yahuah, reveal your purpose to your people. Reveal your purpose to the other nation. Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, may I not cause anyone to stumble. May I not cause anyone to go astray. May I not cause anyone to be turned out of the way. Yahuah, I rely on your Ruach HaKodesh. Yahuah, I am a vessel poured out, a righteous vessel, been made righteous through the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, through water baptism, and having received the Ruach HaKodesh. And because I have Yahushua, you can use me as a vessel. I submit myself to you. I submit myself to you. Yahuah, I submit myself to you. Holy and righteous Elohiym, holy and righteous Adonai, holy and righteous Hurabas. I submit myself to you, Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahuah, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray. Listen, I spend time listening to this song throughout the day. I have to thank my young Ak again, James Jetter, in the Basora of the Truth. Yeah. Listen, I listen to this song at least, 3-4 times a day as a reminder of what this is. This is about establishing Yahuah's kingdom. It's about going home, delivered from the lands of our captivity, restored to the place in Yahuah and Yahusha that we have been set aside for. Listen, it's about returning. But only those that have received the witness are going to return. Only those that receive the witness are going to be those that are sealed. Those who have received the Ruach HaKodesh. Those who go about and do the work. Listen. Those who go about doing the work of Yahuah and Yahusha. Walking in Emunah. Being led by the Ruach HaKodesh. Walking in the love of Yahuah and Yahusha. Keeping his commandments and obeying his Torah. Yahusha's commandments, as he obeyed the Father's commandments and walked in them. And promised to give us the Ruach HaKodesh. I've received the witness. I'm going back to Jerusalem. Right. And I need always to keep this in my memory. This is a reminder for me. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness. Yasharal and Yehuda, grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach. This word is for you, and this is for those who Yahuah has chosen. The song is entitled Jerusalem by Hezekiah. I don't own the rights to this music, but as you know, it's on my top list. Hallelujah. Listen, we going in, right? We going in without further ado. Yeah, we going in. Listen, Yahuah has called me to continue in the Acts of the Apostles, right? He has called me to continue in the Acts of the Apostles because he wants you to know that there is a shaking. There is a shaking that's going to occur. I might as well open up with this. Yeah, listen, this morning, Yahuah, right? This morning, I was in the bed, and I thought I heard a knock at the door, right? But I knew it was probably a knock at the door. It was probably my dog. I was thinking it was in the kennel, right? Because my dog has a wooden kennel, and she's in the front of the house, in front of the door. You know, she is my alarm, right? So I thought I heard her. Right? And I'm like, yeah, maybe that wasn't her. But I kind of felt like it was you, right? But, you know, I was just really, really tired, and I laid there, right? And then, right, I heard a bark. I'm like, she barked. But it wasn't a bark. It was Yahuah again trying to get my attention. Because, see, when she barks, the first thing the wife does, she says, I think Kedar is barking. And I could tell by the bark whether or not, you know, it's because she's suspicious of something or she wants something else. Because I can discern how her bark is, right? It's a bark. It was like this pay attention bark, right? So, you know, I'm thinking, man, maybe you was trying to get me up, you know? Right? And I'm tired, though, right? So I lay there, right? And then I heard, you know, when you hit your car, go boop, boop, right? Boop, boop, right? Because I always do it before I go to bed to make sure the alarm is on, right? All of a sudden, you know, I hear boop, boop. Now, I know it's Yahuah, right? Because, first of all, there's nobody in my driveway that's got my alarm to my car. So I get up on the edge of the bed and I apologize to Yahuah. I said, you know, Yahuah, I'm sorry. Because this is the third time you tried to get me out of the bed. And I apologize. In the name of Yahushua Mashiach, I apologize. And I got up and got myself, you know, situated and went out and I started praying, right? I started praying like I usually do. I start walking, and I kind of walk in a circle, right? And I pray in the Ruach, and I pray with my understanding. And I get around maybe 3 or 4 passes, and Yahushua said, no, sit down. I want to reason with you. So I took a seat, and I was praying with him. I was praying, and, I was just overwhelmed with this sleep, right? And I was hearing Yahuwah, and I was like, oh, And Yahuwah told me, he said, listen, there's a shakening coming. He said, there is a shakening coming. Yeah, shakening. He said, there's going to be a revealing. Yeah. Some sorcerers and some witches and some warlocks amongst the nation are going to be revealed. There's a shakening. There's going to be a shakening and an uncovering and a revealing amongst the nation and amongst the Gentiles. He said amongst the Gentiles. He said, listen. It's a righteous revealing. He is revealing the unrighteous Yahudiym and the unrighteous of the other nation. There's a revealing, there's an uncovering, there is a shakening that's about to occur. Some are going to be shut down because of their failure. Some of them are going to be stopped because they operate under a different ruach. Yahuwah said, you're going to share it. You're going to tell it. I said, well, you let me know when. There's a shakening coming. There's a shakening coming. And all you sorcerers and witches and warlocks amongst the nation, Yahuwah is going to stop you. He's going to shut you down. He's going to stop you. See, because the witness is righteous, the witness is ruach, and the witness must go forth, and the righteousness of Yahuwah must be revealed. The quickening, the awakening, the quickening, because the awakening time is over, in the sense that Yahuwah is already woke up. He's quickening now. And everything's not like him. It's going to be shaken. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, of the nation of Yasharal and Yahudah, of the grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach, you witches and warlocks, you bar yash Yahushas, bidi aura, yes, it's a shaking. There's a shaking. And only that which is established in the witness in the Ruach HaKodesh is going to stand. Only that which is in the witness. And you know what? Listen. This extends to the Christian sectors. There's a shaking. There's going to be a shaking. Let me reveal. It's going to be a revealing. Says Yahuah Alua. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. this day, January 11th, 2022. Let it be a sign unto the nation. Let it be a sign unto the Yahudiym. Yahuah, shaking. And the righteous are going to rise. The righteous who have received the witness of Yahudah and Yasharal, and of the other nations that have received the witness. Hallelujah. Yahuah, I pray that by the Ruach HaKodesh, Yiuras, he said it's done. It's done. This is word. It's gone forth. Don't need to pray. It's done. It's established in the Eretz. It's established in the Shamayim. The word from Alua Yahu. By the Ruach HaKodesh. Yeah. And he says, watch. Because he's going to prove it. He's going to demonstrate it. Acts, the 14th chapter, beginning at the first verse. Right? Now, we left off having completed the 13th chapter, right? And having completed the 13th chapter, we knew that there was some Yahudiym, right? The Yahudiym who got jealous of the Gentiles having received the witness and did not like the fact that Paul and Barnabas opened up this witness to the Gentiles as they did, right? Began to take people and stir them up against them. Stir them up, right? We used to say put the bad mouth on them. Stir them up. Stirred up the devout and honorable women. Went to the women. Stirred them up. Because they knew the women would stir up the men. They knew the women would stir up the men. And the chief men of the city, now these were Gentiles, the Yahudiym, right, stirred up honorable men and women of the city, Gentile city, where they had a synagogue, where the Jews came to celebrate Shabbat. And the Gentiles, the other nations, also came to hear the Torah read. And raised up persecution. They raised up persecution. That word persecution in the Greek.
Strong's G, 1375. Diogmas.
Digomos. To persecute. It means to persecute. What's the etymology of the word? Excuse me, the etymology of that
Strong's
word.
G, 1377. Dioko.
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 Dioko. It means to harass. In any way, to harass, to trouble, to molest one, to persecute, to mistreat, to suffer persecution on account of something, right? The ideal of hostility, right? To hostilely pursue right? Hostily pursue, to hostily follow, right? So here these Yahudiym, because they did not like the other nations receiving the witness of Yahuah and Yahusha, turned the people, the chiefs, the honorable women. Right? Now let's look at that. Let's look at that. The honorable women. Right? That word is
Strong's G 2158. Euschemo.
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 Euschemos. Listen, it means the elegant figure. Right? Shapely, graceful, comely, bearing oneself, comingly in speech and in behavior. Bearing one's self, becoming in speech and behavior, of influence, wealthy, respectable. Right? They singled out these women. And these women, by virtue of their capacity to persuade, due to the fact that they were shapely, graceful, comely, right? Bearing oneself, becoming of speech and behavior, because of their honorable influence, their wealthy, respectable presence, the Yahudiym went to them. And they went to the chief men of the city, right? Those who are of influence, those that they know that they have the capacity to sway, right? They went to him, and they raised persecution against Paul and Barnabas, hostility against Paul and Barnabas, and expelled them, kicked them out of their coast. Kicked them out of their coast, right? But they shook off the dust of their feet. Now, here you have Paul and Barnabas preaching on the Shabbat, a second Shabbat, right? And initially, the Yahudiym was like, yeah, they was glad that they were at the first Shabbat and ministering to the people, and they were supportive of them and they followed them. You know what I'm saying? And then the next Shabbat, the whole town of the Gentiles show up. Got a problem with that now. They got a problem with it. Showing up into the synagogue. They got a problem with that. These people were idol worshippers. They got a problem with that. They weren't proselytes. Right? They got a problem with that. Right? They started stirring up the people. They started blaspheming Paul and Barnabas. Got a problem with it. Became jealous. They became jealous. The term that is used is that they were filled with envy. These Jews, these religious leaders, these Pharisees, these Sadducees were envied. Of a sudden, here is this Paul and this Barnabas, and they preach one Shabbat and the whole city comes. We've been preaching, getting up and reading from Basora. We had these handful of Yahudiym and some proselytes show up. Now the whole city comes out to hear this man, Paul and Barnabas. These people, my people, are starting to listen to them. They're starting to listen to the word that has been spoken by them. I got a problem with that. So after the second Shabbat, those that Yahuah had chosen, right? Those that were ordained to eternal life, that believed, right? Went out. Who received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach at the hands of Paul and Barnabas. They went out. And they declared the Besorah of truth of Yahushua HaMashiach to the other Gentiles. It's a problem. The Jews in the city, the proselytes that were in that city, it was a problem. So they took it upon themselves to seek out the elegant women. Seek them out to get their influence over the chief men in order to expel them out the coast. And Paul and Barnabas, they shook the dust from their feet. Because listen. The witness of Yahushua, right, convicts of sin. It reveals righteousness, right, and it convicts of judgment. They shook the dust from their feet. The witness of Yahushua HaMashiach had been given. People wanted them out. The chief people wanted them out. Shook the dust from their feet. Let it be a sign unto you. Be judged according to the decision you made to stop the Besorah from being preached. And the disciples were filled with joy, and the Ruach HaKodesh disciples, those that are of the Gentiles that had received the Ruach HaKodesh, they were excited. These disciples were Gentiles. These disciples were those who had received and were ordained, right? Those that were ordained, right, unto eternal life. The disciples believed, those rejoiced in the Ruach HaKodesh. Chapter 14. And it came to pass in Iconium, right? Because now they're in Iconium, that they went both together into the synagogue of the Yahudiym, because that's what Paul did. That's what Barnabas did. They went in amongst the people of Yahuah, Yasharal and Yahudah, into the synagogues of the Yahudiym, and so spake that a great multitude, both Jews and also of Greeks, believed. So the witness was successful amongst the Yahudiym, right? Great multitudes of both the Yahudiym, the Jews, the religious Jews, and the Gentiles, the Greeks, right? And again, we know the Greeks could have been the Greeks, or it could have been the Hellenized Greeks, the Hellenized Yahudim, right? But listen, the Jews and the Greeks received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. But the unbelieving Yahudim, those that wanted to be exclusive, did not like the idea of these Greeks accepting this Mashiach and these conditions and standards that the Apostle Paul and Barnabas was introducing, right? They couldn't have it, because it was for them. They wanted to be exclusive. It's a club of the Yahudiym. It's a club of the nation. The Greeks are not allowed. They can't participate in this Yeshua, except they do certain things. And we don't right now feel that, you know, you can be a part of us because, you know, our people are experiencing trauma at the hands of your nation. So, you know, we can't welcome you. Exclusive. But the unbelieving Jews stirred up the Gentiles. Now, the unbelieving Jews stirred up the Gentiles. Now, why do you suppose the Gentiles will become stirred? Because, you know, they got their idols. They don't want to lose their people to their idol worship. They don't want to lose their people to their idol worship. They want their people to maintain their paganism. Yahudiym said, listen, you're going to lose your members. You're going to lose your congregation. And made their minds evil affected against the brethren. They are Yahudiym, right? Of the nation of Yasharal and Yehuda. And the nation is presenting the Basora of truth, the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach at the mouth of Paul and Barnabas, and the Yahudiym are turning the Gentiles against them. And made their minds evil affected. Made them negatively influenced. Evil affected. Let's look at that in the Greek.
Strong's G 2559. Cacao.
Kerkao. It means to oppress, to afflict, to harm, to mistreat, to embitter, to render evil effect. Yahudiym was establishing Paul and Barnabas as being evil. That's going to affect their worship, right? A long time, therefore, abode they there speaking in Adonai Yahushua, which gave testimony unto the Basora of his grace. They stayed there. Because you got to realize you got Yahudiym and Greeks receiving this witness. But see, with the witness comes persecution. With the witness comes mistreatment. With the witness comes persecution. With the witness. With the witness comes opposition. Because the objective is to reach men and women with the witness. But you have the opposition of Hasatan. Long time, therefore, abode they, speaking boldly in Adonai, which gave testimony unto the words of his grace, and granted signs and wonders to be done in their hands. These signs followed them to believe this is what it looks like. This is what that looks like. This is what signs following looks like. This is what that looks like. These signs shall follow them that believe. Signs and wonders to be done by their hands. Paul and Barnabas, preaching the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, giving testimony to the word, the Besorah, the Torah of truth, Yahushua. But the multitudes of the city was divided. They were divided. You had the Greeks and you had the Jews that were established in this witness, and then you had those that were not. Those that were pressed to continue to keep their idol worship, and those Yahudiym, you know, those Yahudiym who was conspiring against the Paul and Barnabas to establish this circumcision introduction to the idea of Yeshua having to come through the Jews. They weren't accepting Paul's witness. The multitude of the city was divided. They were divided over the truth. And part held with the Jews, and part held with the apostles. Right? The Gentiles. Part of the Gentiles held with Paul, with the Jews. And part of the Jews and the Greeks, Gentiles, held with Apostle Paul. Division. Even though signs and wonders were demonstrated, the reality of the witness, yet there was still division. See, because you know what? This witness separates. This witness shakes you. So this witness of the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood, shakes up things. It could cause divisions, because what it does is it makes the witches and the warlocks upset. Because, you know, they had their Bar-Yahusha spell on the awakening. Then along came this Ruach man who has convinced some that they need to receive the Ruach HaKodesh to be established in the witness and receive the mystery that can only be discerned in the Ruach HaKodesh, the witness, and the idea of Yahuah having established a people in the Ruach HaKodesh, a plan, a mystery from the foundations of the earth to establish his kingdom in the earth. Listen. This witness can only be discerned by the Ruach HaKodesh. And listen, that's a problem, because you know what? It affects what sorcerers and warlocks do. See, now you're going to have signs following, righteous signs following men and women of Yahuah, righteous signs. You're going to have people doing what Yahushua commanded them to do. And people obeying the Ruach HaKodesh, speaking Yahuah's word, reaching those who Yahuah has called them to reach, of the Jew and of the Gentile. Because this gospel is not hid. This Besorah, this good news, it's not hid. It's not hid in the lives of those that are awakened, in the lives of those that are quickened. It's not. The awakened, yeah, it could be, but those that are quickened, yeah, listen. So we had this division, Yahuah, shaking is going to occur. A righteous shaking, because the righteous are going to rise. And the wicked are going to be blind. Sorcerers. Bar Jesus, Bar Yahushas are going to be blind. And when there was an assault made both of the Gentiles and of the Jews with their rulers to use them despitefully and to stone them, there was an assault. Listen, this is what it looks like. You have to be prepared that this is what it looks like. When you've received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach and you give the witness out and you have signs and wonders following, this is what it looks like. Yeah, you may have people move to violence.
Strong's G,
the Greek
3730, harmei.
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 Harmei. It means a violent motion, impulse, a hostile movement, the onset of an assault. It got thick. It got violent. They went to get physical because they were stirred up. Right? Righteousness. The witness. Right? The conviction of sin. Listen. He says, and when there was an assault made both of the Gentiles and of the Yahudiym with their rulers to use despitefully and to stone them. So it went to motion, to move towards, to grab, to assault, to stone. Paul about, because that's what this looks like. That's what this looks like. This is what the witness looks like. This is what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. This is what it looks like amongst the Yahudiym and amongst the Gentiles. You notice it's the Gentiles and the Yahudiym. Because, there was Yahudiym on the side of the Apostle Paul and Greeks. You got those awakened brews, and then you got those quickened brews. And the awakened brews struggled against the quickened brews and the quickened Gentiles. And the awakened Jews and the awakened Gentiles had a struggle against the quickened Jews and the quickened Gentiles. They went to stone him. And they were aware of it. They know they were coming. They fled. They didn't hang around to be stoned to death. They left. Because that's what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. The Ruach HaKodesh will warn you, and it will give you a way of escape. The Ruach HaKodesh will warn you, and give you a way of escape. They fled unto Lystra and to Derbe, cities of Lycaonia, and into the regions that lie round about. So they fled there, and they went to Lystra and Derbe. To do what? To do the work that Yahushua has set aside for them to do. For this Besorah must be preached. Listen, it don't matter how bad they talk about you. This Besorah must be preached. It doesn't matter how much they try to destroy you and to wipe you out. This Besorah must be preached. And listen, if they try to come to kill you, he gonna give you a way of escape. Because you know what? This Besorah, this witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, this Ruach HaKodesh, this water and this blood must be preached. This word, this good news of the kingdom of Yahuah must be preached. This Besorah must go forth. And there they preached the Besorah. Because that's what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. That's what the witness looks like. The witness of the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood, is constantly at work. It's not sitting around. It's not waiting for the Shabbat to receive a word to get you through the week so that you can wait to get to the Shabbat again. It's not waiting for the Shabbat, the assembly, right, to come so that you can repent of something that you've done throughout the week to get yourself right. That's the church. Because if you receive the Ruach HaKodesh, you don't sin no more. Hebrews, you know the Torah. You know, we keep the commandments. You know, we keep the commandments. We keep the Shabbats. We obey the Besorah, the Torah. We keep it. We do not sin. Listen, verse 8. And there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, being a cripple from his mother's womb, who never, ever walked. They preached the Besorah of Yahushua HaMashiach, how Yahuah anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the Ruach HaKodesh and power, who went about doing good, healing all those that were oppressed of Hasatan, because Yahuah and the Ruach HaKodesh in him was with him. He had all power in the Shamayim, and he has laid hands on us, and we have received his Ruach HaKodesh, and these signs follow us. The same heard Paul preach the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, the Besorah of truth. Listen. This message is the same. This message is redundant. But this message is life. It's ruach. Life is quickening. It establishes you in the faith. It causes you to be a part of the kingdom of Yahuah and Elohiym if you receive the witness. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him and perceiving that he had faith to be healed. paused, watched. He listened to Paul intently on that crippled leg body he had all his life. And he preached how Yahushua healed. On the Sabbath day, how he healed the man at Bethesda. How he healed the man that was born blind. He heard the word, the message, the Besorah, the good news of Yahushua HaMashiach, and he perceived that the man had emunah to receive the witness. Had emunah to receive the word that he had preached. This is what it looks like. In preaching this Besorah, this witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, yeah, there's persecution. Yeah, you may have to flee for your life. Yes, but the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, the preaching of the Besorah, he perceived that he had faith to be healed. He perceived it. He had faith, emunah, to be healed, and said with a loud voice, "Stand upright on thy feet." And he leaped and walked. Yeah. See, that's what it looks like, right? Like, that's what the witness looks like. That's what it looks like. See, that's not what we've seen in Christianity. It was a fabrication of a familiar spirit that ended all the time. They had gimmicks. They had crafty ways of finding information out because they didn't have the Ruach HaKodesh. They couldn't receive a word of knowledge. They had people on mics. They had information from people. Is it Ruach? This is not that. They haven't moved in the Ruach HaKodesh. It was not established on the Besorah and the Torah. It was not established on the Shabbat. It's not established in the feast days. This is not that. This is not that. This really hasn't been seen in almost 1,000 years. Yeah. Yes, yeah, the apostles and the prophets. After the persecution in Jerusalem. It hadn't been seen. Wow. See, some of y'all gonna have a problem with hearing this, but this is the truth. This is what it looks like. Listen. Yahuah said you need to understand that this is what it looks like. This is not what you've seen in Christianity. This is not what you've seen in the churches. This is not that. This is not the worship of the sun. This is not the worship of the goddess Ashtar. This is not the worship of trees. This is not the worship of Baal. This is not the worship of wood and stones. This is not Kabbalah stone. This is not the wooden crosses on a tree. This is not this Shesher Borgia nailed to a cross in a loincloth. This is not that. This is not these little white babies in stained glass. This is not that. What? This is not that. It's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. This is not that image of Mary in stained glass. This is not that. And I know some of y'all ain't gonna like it, you know. Some of y'all Christians just gonna gnash your teeth at me. But it's okay, though. Some of y'all I grew up with, but it's okay, though. It's the truth. It's not that. It's not the religion. It's not your pastors, what you call them? They used to do them all the time. Where he gathers all of this money and stuff. Oh, anniversary. Yeah. Pastoral anniversary. It's not that. It's not that. It's not that. And this is what it looks like. And this is what has to be seen. This is what Yahuah is bringing to pass. This is the witness that he's called me to give. This is why I'm here all the time. Because he said this is what it looks like. And you got to show them what it looks like. And again, only those who have an ear to hear are going to listen. But if you are the one that listens, this Besorah must be preached. You know this is the truth. You must give it out. Oh, yeah. Don't hear me. He said unto him with a loud voice, stand up. Stand up upright. On thy feet. And he leaped and walked. These signs shall follow them to believe. These signs shall follow them to believe. The Ruach HaKodesh, set aside, set apart for me, Paul and Barnabas. Healed them. And when the people saw that Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of the Lycaonia, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. The Gentiles now, this is Gentiles mentality. See, that wasn't Yahudiym's mentality, it was Gentiles mentality. It was idol worshippers. Idol worshippers. This is why Paul had to write these letters to these people, because they didn't have the covenant that we had. They didn't have an established relationship with Yahuah. Listen. This is why the renewed covenant is largely for the other nations. Yeah, listen, we have the Besorah of Yahuah. Right, we have the Besorah of Yahuah. We have first Yahuah, second Yahuah, third Yahuah, and Revelations, which is, closely related to Daniel. Some of Ezekiel, it's there, right? Right? And you have the Paul's letter to the Hebrews. You have First and Second Peter. You have James, right? Yahudiym. But then you have Romans, right? The latter part of the Acts of the Apostles, right? Acts of the Apostles. Have 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. Have Ephesians. Colossians, Galatians, right? Because they needed to understand what it looked like. They had the witness of Yahushua. See, we who are Yahudiym that received the witness, we already understand. Because we know that Yahushua demands that we keep the commandments. Because that's what he did. We know that we keep the commandments now because we read the revelation of the Ruach HaKodesh on the inside of us. We receive the witness. All we need to do is share it with our brethren that they may be made alive. And this witness, it's not a complicated thing. It's not complicated. The Ruach HaKodesh is not complicated. The renewed covenant is a renewed covenant. It's a covenant that has been renewed. There's no doing away with of the old covenant. It's a renewed covenant. Everything that was in the old covenant is instituted. But in order to fulfill it, you have to receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Because in order to fulfill it, you have to have Yahushua and Yahuah on the inside of you. You have to receive the complete witness. The Ruach HaKodesh, the blood, and the water. That's the only way that it's going to be established in you. Right? But once you have the witness on the inside of you, it's not a hard thing to do what Yahuah says, because it's what we did as a nation, as a people. And see, Yahuah had to wake everybody up, but he woke us up because he needed for us to understand, look, this witness is something that Yahuah has already placed in us. All we need to do is renew this covenant in Yahushua HaMashiach and walk in it, receive it. The other nations didn't have that. The other nations didn't have that. Right? That's why Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is about us. The Besoras that are ascribed to Metnahu, to Mark, Luke, and Yehukanan are Besoras that are to the Yahudiym. Because it reestablishes them the relationship that Yahuah had with them in the original covenant through Hamashiach. It sets the distinction between how it had come so far out of sync and how you had people operating in offices in places that weren't theirs. Hence the Pharisees and Sadducees. Yahushua had to remind his people what that looked like. Peter kept the Torah. Peter said he ain't never had any unclean thing touch his lips. Having received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach was just establishing this eternal covenant that was a mystery and the restoration of the nation and the kingdom of Yahuah in the earth. The Gentiles didn't understand it like that. They were serving Isis. They were serving Astaroth. They were worshiping Diana. They were worshiping Zeus. They were worshiping the elves of the barbarians. And they all had their own elves. Right? But it was the true and living Yahuah Yahusha by the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh raised this man. But see, the people didn't know that. Because they had their gods. Yeah, Zeus, Achilles, whatever gods they had over there. The gods. Let's come down. Paul nipped that in the bud real quick, right? They said, the gods have come down to us in the likeness of man. Yahushua HaMashiach, the Word, the Witness, and the Shamayim, the seed of Elohiym, the first begotten of the dead unto eternal life. The only begotten son of Elohiym. And when the people saw that Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the language of the Lycaonians, the gods have come down to us in the likeness of men. And they called Barnabas Jupiter and Paul Mercury, Mercurius, because he was the chief speaker. Gentiles didn't have no relationship with Yahuah, Lord. And in actuality, their elders wasn't doing anything for them. This man who was healed, who was lame from birth, his elder wasn't doing nothing for him. And all of a sudden, this witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, which demonstration produced emunah in this man who believed what Paul was saying and jumped up and leaped as Paul gave him instruction. And the priest of Jupiter, which was before their city, bought oxen and garlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifices with the people. They acted with the quickness. The priest of Jupiter, they had their own priest. They offered their own sacrifices. They were prepared to offer an ox at the front of the gate. Because of this Besorah that Paul preached, they came with signs following. These signs shall follow them that believe. This witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, this Besorah that came with evidence. This is what it looks like. 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 It ain't what you've seen. No, it ain't what you've seen. And it's not what you have witnessed on television. You ain't witnessed it on television. You haven't witnessed it. Benny Hinn, you ain't witnessed it. Kenneth Copeland, you ain't witnessed this. Creflo Dollar, you ain't witnessed this. T.D. Jakes, you ain't witnessed this. You definitely witnessed it with Joel Osteen because he's just a motivational speaker. You ain't witnessed this with Kenneth Hagin. You ain't witnessed this with Catherine Kuhlman. You ain't witnessed this. This is not that. It was never that. It's never that. It's never that. It's never that. It's never that. Familiar spirits, familiar ruach, it was never that. I know some of you ain't gonna like it, but it don't matter. They shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. It's not that. It's not TBN. It's not the 700 Club. It's not that. This is 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 not that. They wanted to provide a sacrifice. They're Gentiles. Which when the apostles, Barnabas and Paul, heard, they rent their clothes and ran in among the people crying. Hold up, wait. They rent their clothes. They tore their clothes. Let's look at that word rent.
Strong's G 1284. Diareso. There's lexicon. Diaregnomy.
Diaregnomy. Right? To break asunder, to burst through, to rend asunder, right? To rend, which was done by the Yahudiym to their clothes in cases of extreme indignation or deep grief, that they would be worthy of a sacrifice and be elevated to a place of hell. Now, understand something. Now, Yahuah, the Ruach HaKodesh in you has made you an El. But your status as an El is to reach the brethren, right? To establish them in the kingdom and not to be the object of sacrifices. See, because the mighty Christian church wants your sacrifices. Oh, yeah. They want your pastoral anniversaries. They want your sacrifices. They want to be in the center seat. They want to be represented as that man that preaches. And they want to be compensated. They want compensation. Yeah. They want the oxen. They want the worship. They want the cars. They want the houses. They want the planes, the Cessnas. They want the jets. They want the cows. They want the sacrifice. They want the money. They want the cathedrals. They want the big places. They want those things. They want the cars, the Bentleys. They want the sacrifices. This is not that. No. Paul rent his clothes. Barnabas rent their clothes in indignation and grief that they would even be considered Els worthy of sacrifice. He knew he was the son of Elohiym. He knew that he was able to do what he do because he had received Yahuwah's Ruach. He knew that Yahuah and Yahusha was on the inside of him, and he had his Ruach HaKodesh, his power, his dunamos, his exousia, but it was not for him to be the object of worship. It's not that. It's not that. That's what Christianity is not that. It's not that. These people we worshipped. Benny Hinn we worshipped. We worship. Kenneth Copeland. Creflo Dollar. They say, well, give me a plane. I need a plane. We worshipped them and got them that calf. We got them that goat, that of the house. We got them there. We worshiped all of them. Marilyn Hickey, Joyce Myers, motivational speaker, making money. Don't even look real. All the surgeries and things she don't even look real. But she's got her calves, her multi-millions, her houses, for her and her kids. This is not that. This is not that. See, because Paul, totally beside himself. I'm no God. I'm not worthy of a sacrifice. He rent their clothes and cried, saying, Sirs, why do ye these things? Because they Gentiles. That's what they do. That's what they did. Why do ye things? We also are men of like passions with you. We preach unto you that you should turn from these vanities unto the living Yahuah. You need to turn from these vanities. Rendering sacrifices to Jupiter and Mercurius. This is Gentile. What's their way? What's their way? The Hebrews, it wasn't our way. Now the Hebrews that became Greeks and Grecians that grew up under that culture, yeah, they had lost their vision. They had lost who they were. Much like us in the Americas. We had lost who we were. We became Christians, right? Believing in Kenneth Copeland, Creflo Dollar, Kenneth Hagin, driving to go see what's his name? The crying one that got caught with the hooker in the hotel in a sweatsuit. Jimmy Swaggart. Yeah. Yeah. Getting on TV crying, I said, yeah, you went right back to doing what you did before. Because that can't keep you. That's not this. That's not this. We followed these people. We were assimilated into a culture. We were forced to conform to a Christian insanity, right? That was not our culture. But we did it because we didn't want to lose our kids, which we should have just lost our kids and our lives rather than have yielded. Because this Basora, this Torah of Yahushua, this witness is bigger than life. For me to live is Christ, to die is Hamashiach. For me to live is Mashiach, Hamashiach. And for me to die is gain. Yeah. But we were just like that. Them Grecian Hebrews. We were just American Hebrews. So like you got Latin American Hebrews. You got South American Hebrews. You got British Hebrews, French Hebrews. These nations that we have been scattered to, that we have been forced to assimilate into by force. And the Americans, it was brutal for us. told that we could preach the Bible, but we were only told to preach what we were told to preach. Servants, obey your masters. Every Sunday, probably the same message. And then they started to give us a little more liberty. And then we became a part of them. And they told us how to preach it. Told us how to use it to our advantage. Right? That's all it is. Taught us how to steal from our own people. Paul cried out, saying, Sirs, why do you do these things? We are men of like passions with you, and preach unto you that ye should turn from these vanities. This is vain. It's not going to profit you. It is of no profit. There is nothing that you're going to receive as a benefit from offering up this ox to this Jupiter and the Mercurius. It ain't going to happen. Ask the man that's been lame. He can't walk all his life. That just got up because he heard the word of a living Yahuah, son Yahushua HaMashiach, and had faith in the witness and received healing. He said, turn from these vanities unto the living Yahuah, which made the Shamayim and the Arets and the sea and all things that are therein. The living Yahuah. The living Yahuah. The living Yahuah. Yahuah. Zavaoh. The witness and the Shamayim Abba. His word, his son Yahusha, and the Ruach HaKodesh, his power. He says, who in times past suffered all nations to walk in their own way. He tolerated it. All you nations. He tolerated it. He tolerated you nations in Christianity. He tolerated you nations in Islam. He tolerated you nations in Hinduism. He tolerated you nations in whatever idols or elves you serve. He tolerated you. He made everything. But he let you do you. He let you do you. Didn't benefit you. It didn't profit you. But he let you do you. Right? Nevertheless, he left not himself without a witness, and that he did good and gave us rain from the Shamayim and fruitful seasons, filling our hearts with good and gladness, food and gladness. So he said, listen, even though he allowed you to do that, he still gave you rain. He still left goodness. Still allowed your crops to produce. Still allowed you to reap harvests. Even though you think of Mercurius and Jupiter. And with these things scarcely restrained they the people that do that they had not. Let me read that again. And with these sayings scarce restrained they the people that they had not done sacrifices unto them. So by this he restrained the people from not offering up a sacrifice unto him in Bar-Naviy, right? And there came thither certain Yahudiym from Antioch and Iconium, who persuaded the people, and having stoned Paul, drew him out of the city, supposing that he was dead. This is what it looks like. This is what the witness looks like. This is what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. This is what opposition looks like. The same Jews that were in Antioch and Iconium convinced the Gentiles to kick him out, pursued him. Judaizers pursued him. He escaped him and Barnabas. And there came thither certain Yahudiym from Antioch and Iconium who persuaded the people, the Gentiles. And having stoned Paul, drew him out of the city, supposing he had been dead. Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It's hard for you to kick against the prick. Who art thou? Adonai, I am Yahushua HaMashiach, whom thou persecutest. It's hard for thee to kick against the prick. It's hard for you to kick against the prick. I got some things I need you to suffer for my name's sake. Things that you're going to have to go through for my name's sake. You're going to receive the witness of you, Yahushua HaMashiach. You're going to be baptized. You're going to receive the Ruach HaKodesh. And you're going to suffer some things for my name's sake. That's what that looks like. That's what the witness looks like. This is what the witness looks like. It's no flowery bed of ease. It's what the witness looks like. Doesn't mean everybody's going to be stoned, no, but this is what the witness looks like. Some days you may escape and some days you may be stoned. This is what the witness looks like. But you will never lose your life until Yahuah establishes that it is your time. They drew him out of the city, supposing he had been dead. Howbeit, as the disciples stood around about him, he rose up. The Gentile disciples that were with him, that followed him, that believed on him. Howbeit, as the disciples stood around about him, he rose up and came into the city. And the next day he, with Barnabas, departed for Derbe. Paul had to suffer some things. It's interesting, right? The first thing that Paul suffered was a stoning. The same thing we witness from him as he witnessed the stoning of Stephen, having held on to the coats, had laid them before his feet, the coats of those who had to get the flexibility to stone this man of Yahuah, who looking into the Shamayim's face shine as if he was an angel. And Shaul was privy. He was accomplice. To say he ever threw a rock. But he was accomplice and he witnesses. And how is it He was like, I got some things that you got to suffer for my name's sake. You going to get stoned. But I'm going to raise you up. Y'all don't hear me. Howbeit, his disciples stood around him about. He rose up and came into the city, and the next day, him and Barnabas departed to go to Derbe. We're going to stop there. Listen, this is what it looks like to receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. These signs follow them to believe. There is a price to be paid for this witness. And Yahuah is shaking the nation of Yasharal and Yehuda and the Gentiles. Yeah. Sorcerers and sorcerers are on notice. Righteousness is going to rise to the top, and unrighteousness is going to suffer judgment, says Yahuah, Elohiym, Zabao. Yahuah, I pray right now in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach that the words you have given me, I've given them. I pray that they would keep them. Yahuah, I pray that every word that has been spoken prophetically, every word that has been rendered, Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, prove it. Confirm it. On this 11th day of January, 2022. Confirm your word. Yahuah, I pray for those that are on the sound of my voice that need healing. That having received emunah at the word that has been delivered, they have faith to receive healing. I'm praying that they would receive it in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a cold. It could be paralyzation. It's all the same to you in the Ruach HaKodesh. There's nothing harder or less easier. It's all the same to you. I pray that they would receive healing and deliverance. Yahuah, I pray that there would be a space of utterance given unto me continually, that I may deliver this Besorah, this Torah of truth, that I may speak a word in season to those who have an ear to hear. Yahuah, as the pen of a ready writer, I submit myself to you. Speak, Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. I give you praise. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuah, my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness. Woman of Yahuah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen. Yahuah has favored you. Understand, this is what this looks like. Yahuah has told me to show you what this witness, what this Ruach HaKodesh in you, what it looks like. And these should follow you. These signs should follow you. They should follow you. They should follow you. With that I say, man of Yah, woman of Yah, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. No, it's not Shabbat Shalom. It's Shalom. Every day should be a Shabbat. Eventually, every day is going to be a Shabbat. Yeah, it is. It's going to be a Shabbat. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.